What was a house rule you had as a kid that you thought was completely normal until you grew up and realized not all households followed? I grew up in a cramped, two-bedroom apartment with my two younger brothers and my mom. Dad walked out when I was 7, and Mom always told us raising 3 kids alone was the hardest job in the world. I believed her completely. Our house had one rule that I thought every family followed. The fridge got locked at 8 p.m. sharp. Mom had this silver padlock she'd click onto the refrigerator handle every single night. She kept the key on a chain around her neck, tucked under her shirt. If any of us got thirsty or hungry after 8, she'd tell us to drink tap water or go to bed. Late night eating ruins your metabolism, she'd say, shaking her head like we were being ridiculous. Even during summer when it hit 90 degrees, we'd beg for just 1 glass of cold juice or a popsicle. She'd cross her arms and say, "Tough it out, kids don't need snacks after dinner." It made perfect sense to me. Mom worked at the diner until midnight and cleaned offices on weekends. Money was always tight, and she'd remind us constantly how expensive groceries were. But when I turned 13, weird things started happening. I'd wake up to use the bathroom and catch glimpses of Mom in the kitchen at 11 p.m., eating ice cream straight from the container. Not the cheap stuff we got sometimes, but fancy flavors I'd never seen in our cart. When I asked about it the next morning, she'd act confused and say I must have been dreaming. My little brother Jake noticed it too. He'd whisper to me about hearing the fridge open late at night, the sound of glass bottles clinking. One time he swore he saw Mom drinking wine and eating cheese that definitely wasn't in our usual grocery haul. I asked my older brother Danny about it, but he just shrugged. She's the adult. She can eat whenever she wants. We're kids. Different rules. That answer bothered me, but I didn't know why. Everything changed when I was 15 and stayed at my cousin Rachel's house for a week while Mom worked double shifts. On my second night there, Rachel's mom offered me leftover pizza at 10 p.m. like it was the most normal thing in the world. I stared at her confused. "You guys can eat this late?" I asked. She laughed. "Honey, it's just pizza. You hungry?" I couldn't believe it. Their fridge was never locked. Rachel grabbed snacks whenever she wanted. Her little sister had milk and cookies before bed every single night. When I mentioned our fridge rule, Rachel looked at me like I'd grown another head. "That's super weird," she said. "Why would anyone lock food away from their own kids?" I didn't have an answer. Back home, I started paying closer attention. Mom would tell us we were out of lunch meat, but I'd find packages hidden behind her condiments. She'd claim we couldn't afford fruit. Then I'd discover apple cores in her bedroom trash can. The worst part was when she screamed at me for eating a granola bar I didn't even know was off limits. "That was mine," she yelled, her face turning red. "Do you know how much those cost? You kids think money grows on trees." But I'd seen her buying those same granola bars, putting them in a separate bag, hiding them in her closet like treasure. In college, I took a psychology class where we learned about food as a control mechanism. Some parents use meals and snacks to assert power over their children, even when there's plenty of food in the house. The professor explained how withholding basic needs creates dependency and submission. That's when everything clicked. Mom wasn't protecting our health or saving money. She was making sure we knew who was in charge. The lock wasn't about the food, it was about control.